Hi, this is Keith Cutter with EMFremedy.com. In a moment, I'm going to introduce my international guests. We'll be talking about RF radiation personal protective equipment that actually works. Head-to-toe protection against RF radiation. We are all familiar by now with the need for specialized equipment, which enables us to survive hostile environments. Turnout gear and appropriate breathing equipment allows firefighters, for example, to survive extreme heat and toxic smoke. Specialty respirators and Tyvek suits allow for improved safety around dangerous chemicals. My primary concern, however, is enduring electromagnetic poisoning, something I've been personally dealing with for 39 years and now help others to do the same. Collectively, we're in the process of overwriting the natural electromagnetic environment on Earth with a synthetic version. So far, it doesn't seem to be going very well for life on Earth. It's becoming more and more difficult for those well attuned to the natural environment to survive a toxic synthetic environment. What some demand, like cell phone service, others are able to easily discern as harmful, painfully so. Just being in an environment with cell service available is difficult at best and now impossible for many worldwide, particularly with the rollout of 5G service. There are only so many remaining pristine places worldwide, and finding and living in one requires great sacrifice. My guests today chose a different path. They aren't willing to run and hide. They've chosen to stand their ground with a new type of specialized equipment of their own design and construction, which enables them to better endure the widespread poisoning of their cities. We're talking about personal protection equipment, again, that actually works, providing head-to-toe protection from radio frequency radiation. My two guests today are Ann Astor and Peter Torito. Welcome to the EMF Remedy podcast.
Thank you for having us, Keith.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I've been looking forward to this conversation for quite a while. And this is a very new concept for people, and we're not advocating that everybody go out and get a anti-radiation suit or a RF PPE, if you will. But for those who must in order to survive and thrive, this is a legitimate option. And there are obstacles to overcome, some social obstacles, and I'm sure we'll get into talking about those. But I want to hear from the two of you. I have some questions. Anne, let's start with you. What drove you to create your own anti-wireless radiation suit?
Okay. Well, I've been electro hypersensitive for many years, let's say since the mid 90s. But the power density I was exposed to was hurting only for a short time. Like if I was going close to an antenna, I did not stay there for long. And when I was going away, it was fine. At the beginning, people didn't have Wi-Fi or rarely. There was not Wi-Fi everywhere. And eventually, when the Wi-Fi was almost everywhere, it was not as strong at the beginning as it is now. And since 2020, with the new Wi-Fi that is much stronger in power density and the new antennas of 5G, which according to my own measurements, it's about 10 to 1,000 times stronger in power than the previous radiation. That changed my life because I was living in Montreal when 5G started, and I had nowhere to go, nowhere to hide, nowhere to feel good, because the radiation was too high everywhere, and there was new 5G antenna that I could see from my window. So it was quite close. So for the first time, I realized that all the so-called EMF protection, like hats and hoodies and things like that, it just cannot work. And I almost felt a little stupid that I was uh, hoping that it could work, but then it became obvious that it could not work. And in my opinion, the most vulnerable part of the body is the head, especially the face, because the eyes are very sensitive, teeth are very sensitive, ears too. So once I was exposed to 5G, my symptoms were so severe that I realized that my health was in serious danger, but also my life. It was life-threatening. So I came to the conclusion that I had to protect myself in a way that would really, really decrease the power density I was exposed to. So I've tried many tricks, kinds of outfits, and with trial and errors, I came to the conclusion that I needed something that was shielding, reducing at a very low level the power density, and that could allow me to see well, because not seeing well is not functional. Like if you want to drive a car, do your everyday tasks. If the head protection does not allow you to see well, and if it doesn't fit well, it's not realistic to function with that. So because of the severity of the symptoms, I decided to do that, and I can compare it with the efficiency of a microwave oven box, which is not 100% tight, but quite good according to the power that is inside. What's coming out is not that much. So it's the same. I do not get zero radiation under, but I'm able to get safe levels under, which is like if you use a Safe and Sound Pro 2, I'm on green levels under it when I'm in front of a 5G antenna, or if I'm close to a Wi-Fi router, which is life-changing. Now with such a suit, I can go everywhere without pain, without the debilitating symptoms. So I do not lose my energy, feeling sick for 2, 3, 4 days after an exposure, and I'm not damaging my health because because of more exposure that injures me. So I came to the conclusion that neurological health, brain health, is so important, and it's so scary to lose it, that I thought that, considering how crazy is the level of exposure, especially downtown, but when we go on highways and downtown, it's so crazy. And I was born downtown. I love Montreal. I was living in Montreal. I love so much Montreal, and it breaks my heart that it's so hostile now for living beings. I cannot live there anymore. but I cannot stop going there once in a while. So I'm so happy to keep going there and be able to go there.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And then I'll just note parenthetically that's probably akin to the exposures you're measuring with that suit, probably akin to about 99.9 or even 99.99% reduction in environmental RF exposure. So that's really quite excellent. Peter, what drove you to create your PPE for RF radiation?
We have all about the same answers. Well, my short answer is that I had to solve somehow the problem of going out without suffering from the usual poisoning symptoms, but allow me to elaborate on that. I had suffered for more than a decade from radiation poisoning, and I finally discovered what was making me sick, what was going on. So I switched off all my wireless devices, spent some time and money on fully shielding my home, and saw my health improve dramatically. But then I realized I got sick every time I went out and started thinking of how to protect myself outdoors. At first, let's say I tried wearing a shielding headscarf, but that didn't help at all. Then I made a hoodie from a very good material, Aronia Shield Ultra. It's a very expensive material, but of course, the design was faulty. I mean, I noticed some improvement, but its sleeves were not long enough, had no face protection, was too short and too loose. Then I somehow found Anne's YouTube channel where she explains in detail the main points of a bodysuit in order to properly work. I contacted her and she helped me with all the advice I needed, but also gave me the strength to go out dressed like her. She's my personal hero. Thank you, Anne. Anyway, from there on, I watched some tutorials on YouTube on how to tailor and sew clothing and made my own suit. I used my imagination to make a helmet adapted to the hot Spanish climate from a fine stainless steel mesh, and that has been a real challenge because you have to bend it. It's all a challenge. It doesn't bend as we wish. Well, when you bend it one way, it's okay, but when you try to do it like a dome, like a ball, over the head, it's not easy. So I also engineered and handmade my own shielded footwear and gloves to complete the outfit. The results were absolutely amazing. It was an instant win. Now I can go out without any symptoms or fear of getting them. I wish we didn't have to make these suits ourselves because not everyone is as resourceful as we are. I wish someone made good protective clothing because most shielding clothes sold out there are not made by EHS people, and often their design is faulty, leaving gaps for the radiation to penetrate. Also, nobody makes neither proper head protection nor shielded footwear that I know of. A beekeeper's suit made of good shielding fabric and fine metallic mesh for the head, it would be nice for a start. Anyway, back to you, Keith.
Thank you, Peter. I appreciate it. And I'll just mention that Peter has accomplished something that is really quite remarkable. He in shielding his home, and he lives in a city of about 1 million people. So he's been able to achieve levels measured on accurate and sensitive equipment appropriate for the task. You were just sharing this with me, Peter. Is it 1/10 of 1 microwatt per square meter, or what was it? I can't see.
You can have a look on the screen. I'm not sure if it.
Yep, it's below 1 microwatt.
It's below 1. It is flashing in green.
Fantastic. Yeah, so that's really
This is
admirable.
my living room.
And then outside your apartment, of course, it's horrible, and yet your suit allows you to be comfortable and rejoin society and not give up access to the city where you want to live. So, Peter, what are things you're now able to do which you could not do without the suit?
Well, first of all, I can go out without getting a headache, dizziness, and nausea. And I can think clearly, free from that continuous brain fog and zombie-like behavior. I can drive without missing my exit on the motorway, or trying to engage reverse gear instead of second when engaging on a roundabout. You see, I used to drive coaches. I used to drive international lines for Eurolines in Europe. And I had this brain fog. I would enter a town to leave or pick up passengers. And when going out and joining the motorway, it happened to go the wrong direction. I was coming from Paris, and I would go back towards Paris and had to drive for half an hour on the motorway in order to be able to make a turn and be back on my route. So now I lost my job, and it's been 10 years since I haven't been doing any kind of work. But anyway, who would hire me with one of these shielding helmets and looking like an astronaut? Maybe I should go work for NASA. Anyway, I can go out shopping without acting like a lunatic, trying to do it fast enough and get there and leave before getting those awful symptoms. I can also talk calmly to people without worrying about getting poisoned by their phones or the nearby antennas. I can spend time in a hospital's waiting room without being more sick when leaving than before getting there. Also, I can travel on public transportation, which used to be out of the question due to all the other passengers' mobile devices. Keith.
Yeah, Peter, that's everything that you just described. I've personally experienced. I wasn't driving a motor coach, but absolutely everything that you just talked about, I think is common to those of us who are suffering from RF radiation, synthetic EMF being propagated throughout everywhere. So it really does impact ability to think. So we call it brain fog, which I'll just note that term wasn't a term when I was a child. It seemed to be become in use when cell phones became popular. So I can really resonate with what you're saying there. Anne, how about you? What things are you now able to do that you could not do without the suit?
I think that the first thing is to go into radiated places without having the symptoms. That's the first thing. The second thing is to get rid of the high stress, the pressure of hurrying, trying to do everything as fast as possible to go away from that place. Now I can take all my time. If I want to shop, really relax and take the time to read labels and look at stuff and talk with people. I have all my time totally relaxed. It's a good experience, and also that's the stress that is gone. No more pressure of being fast, and no worrying about getting worsening health conditions. Because I at the levels I'm exposed, staying in the green level, that doesn't injure me. Even if I can still feel that there is something, I feel something, but feeling something at that level is not hurting, it's not damaging, it's only being conscious that there is something. But that's I'm fine with it. So I can even say that, let's say that I'm driving with the helmet and going through very high radiation places, and then I go to other places that are fine. I can feel the difference between the suit, just the same as if you are walking under the sun and then you go under shade and then you go back under the sun. The comparison could be, well, a little more subtle than that, but it's still that. And if you're only 2 minutes under the sun, you're not hurting, you're just feeling it. So it's the same. I feel it, but it's not hurting. But if I don't have the helmet, if I don't have the suit, it's hurting very quickly and for a long time. I can be hurt for 4 days, sometimes even longer, if I'm not protected. And I don't want to do it anymore. I think it's too dangerous. When I think that when we reach a point that the symptoms are severe, it's because it becomes dangerous to be exposed again to high levels. And I think that each time we get strong symptoms, it's dangerous. That's my opinion, and we will see with time what will be the scientific studies that will come out of it. But I prefer to go safe than be sorry for the future. And I've seen people not protecting themselves, getting permanently injured, such as getting Alzheimer's disease. I don't want that. When people say, "Oh, we have to die from something," everybody dies, but I don't want to die from Alzheimer's disease. That's not a cool way to die. All the neurological health problems are not cool at all. I think that it's way better to look crazy and still have a brain than try to look like everybody else and lose permanently health once the extreme damage happens. So that's about that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. And that I think the most difficult part of this is there are a lot of people who could benefit from this. I have absolutely no doubt, based on my experience in working with people who have been sensitized to synthetic EMF. But the big inhibitor, the big drawback is, what will people think? And we're not trying to introduce a new fashion statement here. We're not trying to ignore the fact that you're going to get some second looks from people. But I think what you've heard so far from Anne and from Peter is these suits that actually work have enabled them to rejoin society and to live in places, visit places that would otherwise be impossible, and to go out without cognitive impairment, without being forced into a sympathetic nervous system response of having to hurry through everything and be short interactions with people and all of that stuff. So, Peter, how do people react to your wearing the suit? Can you give us some insight as to what your experience is? Everybody recognizes the turnout gear of a fireman, and everybody recognizes the PPE, the suit and the respirator to protect them from chemicals, but people don't understand these new ones. So what's been your experience, Peter?
Right. Well, you just said something about people trying to fit in to the crowd. Well, I was never one of those. So I always was the black sheep of the family or my classroom or anything. But anyway, it used to bother me because, like, from a certain age, we tend to become invisible to people, and I like being visible. It started bothering me. I became transparent since I was 45 or 50. I became transparent. So now I can't complain anymore. I usually draw much attention. I certainly don't go unnoticed anymore. I mean, people ask me if I'm protecting. I mean, they say, "Where are the bees?" Because I look like a beekeeper, or they say, "Where are the aliens?" You know. Anyway, I wear a QR code on my front and on my back, which directs people to a file on Google Drive that contains a lot of information about radiation poisoning and the basic remedies against it. So people often approach me and ask permission to scan me. They use their mobile phones. I don't care because I'm protected, you know. Some of them ask a lot of questions, and I never miss any opportunity to talk about the global poisoning going on. Most of them are very polite or simply mind their business. On very rare occasions, I hear a funny remark behind my back, but hey, Jesus Christ went through rougher moments, so why should I complain? I joke with them. I said, hey guys, I'm the canary in the coal mine, and when you see me there, just know that soon enough it's gonna be your turn. Except I might just outlive everyone else living protected inside my Faraday cages. Keith.
Oh, that's fantastic. I admire that the fact that you're able to turn the situation towards an advocacy perspective and help educate people. And what a loving gesture that is to try to help people understand. Maybe if we had a lot more people in a lot more countries around the world wearing these, we could accomplish more than our other advocacy efforts, which are substantial, that have been undergoing for a long time. And what have your experiences been from other people?
Okay. Well, first of all, I have to say that before I wore for the first time full body protection, I was myself questioning about what people will think, what will they say, how will they react, how will I be treated by people. It was a little scary, but symptoms are more scary than that. When you got the extreme symptoms, you quickly come to the conclusion that it's easier to look crazy than to suffer that much. So I went out with that, and I was very surprised. Um, People who laugh at me are rare. It happens, but among those who are laughing, most of them are laughing in an innocent way. It's not mean. It's really, really, really rare that someone is mean. That's such an exception that I wonder if it happened once. I'm not quite sure if it happened once. Um, so when someone is feeling like laughing at it, my attitude is to laugh with them. And, like if someone is taking the phone and filming me, I'm doing that. So I try to be part of the joke and make the joke funnier. So they can enjoy better the laugh, and I think it's the way to go. But since those people are minority, which was unexpected because I was thinking that maybe most people would be laughing at it. Actually, what happens most is that people are really very, very kind, polite, they are well behaved, and I would say maybe 10% of people are quite curious. And some people come to me for questions, asking me, what's that suit? Does it work? What are the symptoms of electrosensitivity? Things like that. And the most unexpected thing that really I would never expect that, but it's really, I should admit, very exciting, in fact, and quite a privilege, um, is that since I'm dressed weird, um, people who have an, a secret, a weird secret, something that they are holding for themselves because they think that other people would not understand, they would be laughed at and ridiculed, they feel safe to come to me and tell me their weird stories. And it happens very, very often. And it's so often and exciting that each time I'm planning to go out, I wonder, oh, what will be the funny story or strange story that I will be told today? What kind of people will I meet who will surprise me with something? Um, in fact, reality is that it's more fun wearing that than not. But I would never expect that in reality. That was the really last thing that I would expect. And the other thing is that since when I'm wearing it, I'm behaving like if I was not wearing it, like if I was dressed normal. I act normal. You know, and I forget that I'm wearing it, and people are intrigued, and they come to me instead of me going to them saying, hey, you know, the radiation is dangerous, you should worry and take action about that. I'm not saying anything, I'm not preaching. They come to me and it's like if the preaching they are doing it by themselves, by their own curiosity. They start to ask questions by themselves, be interested by themselves, and you know, there are lots of messages that are um, really there without saying a word, which is people see that, oh, if she wears that, uh, she needs a really strong motivation to dare going public with such an outfit. So the reason should be serious. And when they start to talk with me, they realize that, oh, no, she's not crazy. She has all her brain. So it means that, oh, that's serious. It's a real thing. So I've seen people who by themselves, after they saw me, they wired their home without me telling them to do it. They came to me by themselves saying that after they saw me, they did those changes. They started to research the topic by themselves. They got interested, and I noticed that some people, especially when I go to stores, you know, there's lots of employees, and when someone sees me, there's a tendency to discuss the topic with other co-workers, and I don't know exactly what they are saying, but I can feel that they are doing some thinking about the topic, and the result is that it's more about being serious and respectful about that than other ways. So the balance, the conclusion is that the experience is way much more positive than expected. However, I should admit that there are the weak points of it is that, let's say you're single, Of course, it's not sexy to wear such an outfit. If you're looking for a job, I don't know who's the employer who wants you to be dressed like that, meeting clients. And also, if you have some friends or relatives that are not self-confident, or are lacking some maturity, maybe they may feel ashamed to be with you in public because they worry that it can ruin their own reputation being close to a person wearing such a suit. But besides that, the overall experience is highly positive and definitely way much better than being exposed and suffering from neurological damage and have an impaired health condition.
All right. Thank you very much, Anne. I appreciate it. So I want to mention that there are three of us now in this conversation, myself in the United States, and Anne is just outside Montreal, Canada, and Peter is in Zaragoza, Spain. And we had a third, an additional person who was going to be with us today. She was not at the last moment able to attend, but I want to include her in spirit in this because she is a resident of France, and she has put together her own anti-radiation suit and has benefited from it remarkably. I asked her by email this morning if she just wanted to share something by email. So from Rosalito, she says, I am Rosalito, RF sufferer in France, and I started my website to provide free graphic design about wireless dangers. For 1 year now, I shield myself with whole RF-proof outfits, thanks to which I'm able to go out of home with no suffering and no biological damages. This is a huge improvement for my health as well as my autonomy. So, Rosalita, sorry you were not able to attend in person in this event, but wanted to include you in spirit here. We're going to have to do another episode on getting people pointed in the right direction who might be interested in creating their own suit. But for now, you have a YouTube channel?
Yes, Anne EHS. Actually, it's in French, but eventually I will do something in English. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. And the Google translation is horrible because since I'm from Quebec, the translation of the French Canadian is quite bad. So sometimes the translation is a little ridiculous. But yeah, it will come eventually in English. And I'm on Facebook, and also involved in francophone groups, EHS groups, and eventually more in English, and on Facebook too.
Fantastic. And Peter, I don't know if you engage in any social media or any of that, do you?
Yes, in fact, I do. I have a Telegram channel. Unfortunately, it is all in Spanish, but if people care to have a look, most often the images talk for themselves. I have videos of how I shielded my home. I have videos of how I made my suit. I have plenty of Keith's videos, which I share there, and other people's videos. But it is called Soluciones 5G de Torito. Maybe, Keith, you will include it in the notes of this video because it is quite hard to spell it here for English-speaking people. I just have a couple of final thoughts, if you don't mind.
Yes, go ahead.
I'd like to tell all the suffering people that there are solutions at hand, and they can live an almost normal life by using a shielded bodysuit. No need to hide in the middle of nowhere. No need to get depressed in the woods. No need to live without family and friends, without internet. I have all the technology around me and it cannot hurt me. So basically, you people, you EHS people, you can also thrive in the cities. I encourage people to make their own shielding suits and improve our designs. The more people wear these suits, the more visibility we give to the problem, the more likely is that the authorities change something. While we all go into hiding, the problem doesn't exist. So people, please be brave. I call on all manufacturers out there to please make more professional and better looking helmets that people would find cool and take pride in wearing them outside. I also want to thank you again, Keith, for all your hard work and for making this interview possible, and send a big hug to my sisters, Rosalito and Anne. Keep up the good work, girls. God bless you all. Back to you, Keith.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The EMF Remedy podcast is a project of EMF Remedy LLC. We'd like to be your trusted guide for achieving a better EMF environment in your home. The contents on this podcast are provided for informational purposes only and are not intended to substitute for the advice provided by your doctor or other healthcare professional. It is not intended to be, nor does it constitute healthcare or medical advice. Opinions of guests on this podcast do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the EMF Remedy podcast.